In the dramatic resurgence of muscle car dominance, 2026 witnessed the surreal and unexpected resurrection of a legend that automotive purists believed had burned out with the embers of a bygone era. The all-new Pontiac Firebird Formula, re-engineered from the ghost of GM's discontinued Pontiac line and reincarnated as a phoenix rising from the digital flames of automotive folklore. This vehicular marvel, forged in secrecy within GM's ultra-classified experimental design studio known only as Project Tempest, represented not just a car but a movement, a bold, flaming rebuttal to the beige monotony of modern crossovers and soulless electric pods that had infested city streets like chrome-coated locusts. The 2026 Firebird Formula, far from being a mere electric clone with heritage branding slapped on its hood, was an unapologetic hybrid of visceral internal combustion might and cutting-edge electrified fury, built around an intricately engineered dual-power system. A hand-assembled 5.7-liter quad-cam twin-turbo V8 codenamed Thundervine, producing 720 horsepower independently, was paired to a hyper-reactive dual-motor axial flux electric drive mounted on the front axle, contributing an additional 380 horsepower, pushing total system output to a staggering 1,100 horses with 1,050 pound-feet of torque, launching this beast from 0 to 60 in just 2.6 seconds while sounding like a mechanical opera of thunder and futuristic turbine harmonics that left children breathless, dogs barking, and seasoned drivers with tears in their eyes and memories of their first burnout in the 70s. The powertrain was governed by an AI-assisted torque vectoring system called Ether, Advanced Energy Torque Handling and Engagement Relay, which dynamically adjusted real-time power distribution not only based on traction, surface texture, and speed but also the driver's pulse rate, facial tension, and pupil dilation through biometric sensors embedded in the racing-style Alcantara steering wheel. Yes, the car knew when you were scared and responded accordingly by either calming the throttle or, perversely, egging you on with sharper throttle maps, depending on your selected aggression profile in the Psycho Drive settings menu. Wrapped around this beast was a sleek, violently angular body that somehow married retro cues from the 1970s Firebird Formula: hood scoops, louvered tail lamps, transom-inspired shaker hood now electronically actuated, and that iconic screaming bird decal that stretched across the hood like a war banner. With futuristic enhancements such as a fully active aerodynamic system including a rear wing that morphed in real time based on telemetry data, rear diffusers with variable geometry, and a front splitter that adjusted downward force depending on detected crosswinds and upcoming elevation changes using cloud-connected GPS anticipatory mapping, the entire chassis was a masterclass in carbon titanium lattice design, fused with graphene reinforcement in key stress zones, resulting in a weight-to-power ratio that left supercar rivals in the dust, while the suspension, co-developed with aerospace firms specializing in magnetic ride dampening, adapted 1,000 times per second, ensuring the car could corner at 1.4 G with stability, grace, and a faint echo of rage. Stepping inside the 2026 Firebird Formula was like entering the cockpit of a fighter jet that happened to be possessed by the ghost of Steve McQueen and coded by a symphony orchestra of MIT dropouts and Detroit street racers. Interior trim included backlit aluminum panels engraved with each vehicle's build date, seats that used AI-generated memory foam to mold themselves uniquely to each owner and remember them across multiple drivers, and a curved 21-inch HUD-integrated digital cockpit system that combined lidar visualization, race telemetry, driver vitals, and customizable displays with retro-styled needle gauges rendered in hyper-real 3D just because they could. Voice controls were no longer passive assistants but part of the vehicle's embedded avatar interface known as RAVN, short for Raven, an adaptive digital entity with a sardonic attitude that could tune your suspension while quoting James Hetfield lyrics or recalibrate launch control while giving sarcastic feedback about your cornering line. Based on built-in track analysis software that compared your driving to professional racers through a built-in motorsport database, the center console featured no traditional buttons, but rather a modular haptic feedback system called Feel Grid, where tactile illusions allowed your fingers to press virtual knobs and switches that morphed depending on the drive mode: track, tour, burnout, urban, stealth, and the elusive bandit mode, which unlocked extra throttle response, added flames to the HUD, and piped a modern remix of Jerry Reed's Eastbound and Down into the speakers with an optional CB radio filter for the ultimate Smokey and the Bandit tribute run. Speaking of sound, the audio system, an experimental 19-speaker 4D surround platform called SONIQWRATH, was co-designed with a collective of former NASA acoustics engineers and metal musicians, delivering bass lines that could cause visible ripples in nearby puddles and highs so crisp they could theoretically shatter artisanal glass, with a unique exhaust reverb channel that could sync engine revs into musical harmony with your playlist, allowing you to do a full throttle downshift that matched the key of your favorite riff. Safety systems were of course bleeding edge, including an autonomous emergency pilot override system that could detect when a driver was incapacitated and take over with evasive maneuvers calculated from a real-time simulation engine based on neural networks trained on millions of hypothetical accidents, while also contacting emergency services and displaying helpful holographic indicators to oncoming traffic through a rear-mounted projector system, though most owners disabled the self-driving modes entirely because, in their words, if you're not driving it, what's the damn point? Among its many marketing campaigns, the launch of the Firebird Formula in 2026 included a daring 4-part short film series titled Ashes to Apex, directed by Denis Villeneuve, featuring a plot about underground racers uncovering a secret Pontiac division building outlaw cars posthumously as an act of resistance against boring transportation, with real stunt drivers piloting production Firebirds through scenes including a zero-gravity drift inside a decommissioned airship hangar and a race across the Bonneville Salt Flats during a lightning storm. Buyers of the limited edition Formula Ascendant package received not only custom liveries, carbon ceramic brake upgrades, and track day tuning, but also an NFT-linked encrypted digital twin of their exact vehicle, stored on GM's proprietary Futuristic network, allowing full virtual simulations of their exact build in racing sims, car meets in the metaverse, or just to flex online. Environmental critics were initially skeptical, but the car's hybrid system was designed for sustainable range. It ran on second-gen biofuel that emitted 75% fewer emissions than traditional gasoline, and its electric motors charged through regenerative braking enhanced with electromagnetic feedback rails embedded in the undercarriage, which when parked over a matching smart surface, enabled wireless hypercharging in under 8 minutes, giving it 140 miles of electric-only range for city commuting, enough for most owners to justify it as their green vehicle. While still lighting up drag strips on weekends, collectors were stunned when GM announced that only 7,777 units would be produced globally, each numbered and track certified, with options for a unique heritage VIN suffix pulled from retired Pontiac VINs matched to classic Firebirds lost in junkyards or scrapyards. A poetic resurrection encoded in steel and bytes. Those lucky enough to own one found themselves part of a global Firebird rebellion, a new car culture tribe bound by torque, software mods, classic soul, and future fury, meeting in digital and real-world events known as revivals, where thousands of Firebird formulas gathered like mechanical Valkyries screaming down abandoned airstrips and neon-drenched tunnels, not just as transportation but as declarations that passion, rebellion, and the Firebird itself were alive again, and this time, it wasn't going away.